The Poisoned Will. My name is Amina Wanjiku, and I am 68 years old. In our small village of Kigumo, nestled among the green hills of central Kenya, where the red earth stains your feet and the acacia trees whisper secrets to the wind, I once believed family was unbreakable. For 45 years, I walked beside my husband Kamau, a man whose hands were rough from tilling maize fields and fixing bicycles under the hot sun. We met when I was 22, carrying water from the river in a calabash balanced on my head. He smiled at me with eyes like polished obsidian and said, "Sister, that water looks heavy. Let me help." That simple offer became our life, our love, our 2 children, our modest mud brick home with its iron sheet roof that sang during the rains. Kamau was not rich in shillings, but he was rich in honor. He taught our son Juma and Njeri to respect elders, to share what little we had, and to never let greed blind the heart. We raised them with stories under the moonlight, tales of Anansi, the trickster spider who always paid for his selfishness, and of brave women like Wangari Maathai, who planted trees against impossible odds. I thought those lessons had taken root, but greed has a way of rotting even the strongest tree from the inside. Kamau died suddenly last April during the long rains. The doctor in town called it a heart attack. He had complained of dizziness and blurred vision the morning before after drinking his usual chai that Njeri brought him. I held his hand as the light faded from his eyes in our bedroom. "Amina," he whispered, "protect what is ours." I thought he meant the land, the small plot we farmed together. I didn't know he meant something darker. The funeral was simple, as Kamau would have wanted. No extravagant feasts, just neighbors singing Kikuyu hymns and sharing ugali under the mango tree. Juma and Njeri stood beside me, heads bowed, tears falling. Or so it seemed. Their hugs felt brief, their eyes darting to the lawyer who hovered nearby like a vulture. That evening, as I sat alone on the veranda, wiping dust from Kamau's old bicycle, my phone buzzed, an old Nokia that barely held charge. A message from an unknown number. "He didn't die of a heart attack. Check the will. They changed it." My hands shook. Who would send such a thing? A cruel joke? I replied, "Who is this?" No answer came that night, but sleep refused me. I remembered how, months earlier, Juma, now 42, a failed businessman in Nairobi who lost everything in bad real estate deals, had visited often, pressing Kamau to update the family papers. Njeri, 39, married to a man deep in gambling debts, would bring fancy teas from the city, saying, "Papa, try this, it's good for your heart." The next morning, I went to the village elder who kept our documents. The will was there, but something was wrong. Kamau's signature looked shaky on the new version, dated just 2 weeks before his death. It left the entire 5-acre plot, our house and the small savings account, nearly 3 million shillings from years of careful saving, to Juma and Njeri outright. Nothing for me beyond a monthly allowance managed by the children, and a clause, if I became incapable, they would control everything. I felt the earth shift beneath me. Kamau would never sign away my security like that. He always said, "Amina, this land is yours as much as mine. You planted the first seeds." Another message that afternoon. The lawyer helped them. He was paid. "Look in the kitchen cupboard. behind the maize meal. I hurried home. Behind the sacks, wrapped in plastic, was a small bottle, clear liquid, no label. I remembered the smell from Kamau's last days, sharp like bad alcohol. Later, I learned it was methanol, wood alcohol, cheap and deadly when mixed in small doses over time. It mimics a heart attack or stroke. In Kenya, bootleg brewers sometimes use it. It blinds, then kills. That night, the messages continued. This is Dr. Mwangi, the clinic nurse who treated Kamau last year. Your children bribed the Nairobi doctor to change the death certificate. I have recordings. Meet me tomorrow at the old dispensary at 3 p.m. Come alone. Dr. Mwangi was a kind man, gray-haired, who had once stitched Kamau's hand after a panga accident. I trusted him more than my own blood. At the dispensary, now half abandoned, vines creeping over the walls, he waited with a small recorder and a folder. "Mama Amina," he said softly, "your husband came to me 3 weeks before he died. He was worried. Juma kept pushing him to sign new papers. Njeri brought vitamins, but Kamau said the tea tasted strange after she visited." He played the first recording, Juma's voice on speakerphone to Njeri. "Papa signed the new will yesterday. The lawyer added the clause, if Mama gets sick in the head, we take over. She's old, it won't be hard to prove." Njeri laughed coldly. "And the methanol? It's working. He's dizzy already. 2 more weeks and it looks natural. Then the land sells for 8 million in Nairobi, enough to clear our debts forever." My knees buckled. These were my babies, the ones I carried on my back during droughts, the ones I taught to read by kerosene lamp. How had love turned to poison? Dr. Mwangi showed photos. Juma buying the methanol bottle at a shady hardware shop in Thika, time-stamped 3 weeks prior. Bank slips, 50,000 shillings transferred to the Nairobi doctor who signed the false certificate. And worst of all, a final recording from the nights Kamau died. Juma, "It's done. He's gone. Now we convince Mama she's too grief-stricken to manage anything. We'll get the courts to declare her unfit. The allowance clause kicks in. We control the money." Njeri, "What if she fights? She's stubborn like Papa." Juma, "Then we help her along. Same method. No one questions an old widow's broken heart." Dr. Mwangi had acted because Kamau had asked him, quietly, to watch over me if anything happened. "Your husband knew," he said. "He suspected, but he loved them too much to accuse without proof. He hired me to record if needed. I couldn't save him, but I can save you." Tears burned my eyes. What now? "We go to the police in Muranga tomorrow, but first you must play along. Let them think you're broken, confused. It will make their confession easier." For days I became the grieving widow they expected, forgetful, tearful, asking the same questions twice. Juma and Njeri came often, bringing food, helping with papers. "Mama, sign here. It's just to make things easier," Juma said, eyes gleaming. I signed nothing. Instead, I recorded them secretly with the old phone Dr. Mwangi gave me. One evening, as they sat in my kitchen, "Njeri, the lawyer says if we push the incompetence claim, the court will appoint us guardians next month. The land sells fast. Developers want it for apartments." Juma, "And Mama? She won't last long after that. A little more tea and she joins Papa." I felt sick, but I kept the phone hidden under my kitenge. The next day, with Dr. Mwangi and a kind police sergeant who knew Kamau from church, we presented everything: recordings, bottle photos, bank transfers, the fake will signatures, a handwriting expert later confirmed forgery, and the exhumation order that found methanol in Kamau's remains. Juma and Njeri were arrested at their Nairobi apartments that night. They denied everything at first, cried innocence, blamed stress and debts. But when the recordings played in court, Juma collapsed. Njeti stared at me with hate I had never seen. The trial lasted 3 months. The village packed the small courtroom. Neighbors who had shared meals with us wept as the truth unfolded. The judge called it the cruelest betrayal, children poisoning their father for land money, then plotting against their mother. They were sentenced to life imprisonment for murder and conspiracy. The will was voided, everything returned to me. I could not keep the poisoned money. I sold part of the land, not to developers, but to create the Kamau Wanjiku Foundation, a small trust for widows in our county facing family greed. We provide lawyers, safe homes, investigators. Already, we helped 3 other women whose children tried similar tricks. Dr. Mwangi visits often. We sit under the mango tree, drinking real chai, no poison, and talk about Kamau. He would be proud, he says. I tend the grave every Sunday, planting marigolds, Kamau's favorite. I tell him about the children we help, how his death birthed something good. Sometimes letters come from prison. Njeti writes apologies soaked in regret. Juma begs forgiveness. I read them once, then burn them. The children I raised are gone, replaced by strangers driven by debt and desire. I pity them, but I do not forgive. Not yet. Maybe never. 5 years on, at 73, my hair is silver like moonlight on the river. The house stands strong, painted yellow, Kamau's favorite color. The foundation grows. More widows find voices because I found mine. Greed poisons families faster than any chemical. But truth? Truth is the antidote. It hurts, it scars, but it heals. If you are reading this and fear your own blood may betray you, speak, seek help. Do not wait until the grave is dug. Kamau taught me love is stronger than death. I teach others it is also stronger than greed. Rest well, my love. Your will was never poisoned. It lives in every woman who stands tall against betrayal.